the only way we really can know if the herb that really does have a certain function or not is it helping with a condition that is related with this function. So for example, if we have a herb and we found that it can help with common cold symptoms, and it can help when you have these headaches and this runny nose and this tight back and these things, then we know that it's a pungent form service liberating herb, because it's helping with the condition that it's indicated. It works for a certain indication, and that's really the only way we can really know that a herb has a certain function, because it can help with the indications related with this function. And so the point of this was just to make that we always have to be careful that the only real stuff we have about herbs is what do they treat. And based on that, we conceptualize functions, and we conceptualize nature, flavor, all the other things that are clinically useful. But at the end of the day, this is still a sort of guessing work, and we may be wrong. So even though we think that, this is a kidney tonic, so it's probably useful for this, this, and this. Yes, but maybe not the thing. Maybe it's not working for that condition, even though this is kidney deficiency. Descending chi. So here I also want to be very careful about these words. It really means when we say descend lung chi, descend stomach chi, that it's treating cough, it's treating dyspnea, or it's treating nausea and vomiting. But I don't think it's necessarily like bringing a downward movements. So we have to be very careful. Like I said, for Bansia, we can say descend chi because it's treating nausea and vomiting, but it's not necessarily having a descending movement by itself. Then we also, this one is a little bit tricky. So when we say produce body fluids, which is in Chinese 生津液, or creating body fluids, it really means it's going to stop thirst. It's going to affect thirst and limiting thirst. And we see that, for example, in herbs that are not nurturing yin, and these are the sour herbs, such as wu weizi or wu mei. So these herbs are actually quite warm. They're not bringing in more yin in the body, but they are against thirst because they're sour, right? And it's like when you eat sour things, you'll produce saliva, right? So they stop thirst because of that. But they're not really building up the yin in the body. So that's why we have to be careful about this term. They're a bit misleading. Produce body fluids really means stopping thirst. So it's a symptomatic function. Is targeted at one symptom. And nurturing yin actually means producing body fluids.
Okay.
Yeah. Nurturing yin doesn't mean that it's going to nurture blood. It doesn't mean going to nurture essence. It really is going to produce body fluids. That's it. The only thing is producing. When we say clear deficient heat, just be careful, because this is not necessarily that there is yin deficiency causing fire. It's a really specific type of heat with clearing. It's the yin level heat that is going on at the end of febrile diseases. So it's really in the context of febrile diseases. It's a very, very narrow context. I mean, honestly, I've never seen that context in my clinical experience. So you see how irrelevant it is to clinical practice. And that's really what they do. They clear the fever, the kind of at the end of the febrile disease. So very, very narrow indication. When we say remove wind damp, it's not going to be able to treat wind alone, and it's not going to be able to treat damp alone. It's really specifically for B syndrome. So a wind damp removing herb is a herb that is working for B syndrome. Therefore, the way I want to do is we start with the important ones. And so what are the important ones? And the important ones are really the herbs that are going to produce a big shift in the way the body works, right? We're trying to change the whole direction of the things in the body. And the herbs that are going to do that, it's the tonic herbs, so Qi tonic, Yang tonic, nurturing herbs in blood, nurturing herbs, kidney tonic, of course, etc. The cold herbs, the clearing heat herbs, are going to also to shift the whole yin-yang balance in the body, and the warming herbs that are going to shift the whole balance of yin-yang, but the other way around, right? And that's really the herbs that are going to do these big shifts. And therefore, that's why they have so many indications, and we use them so commonly in the clinic because they're doing these big shifts. So you could use them for cough, for digestive conditions, for cardiovascular disease, for neurological disease. You can use them for pretty much everything, right? Because they're changing the constitution, and the constitution is everything. And we do use them for trauma and masses as well. But now the thing with blood-moving herbs, we rarely use them to help other herbs to achieve something else, right? So that's the difference between moving herbs. Tea-moving herbs, they will help spleen-reinforcing herbs. They will help dam-transforming herbs. They will help blood-moving herbs. But blood-moving herbs, it's kind of we're already at the biao, you're already at the end. They're not going to help anyone else. That's the end of the pathological mechanism. So example include Dangui, Dansen, and Transition here at the bottom. So you see the difference in the arrows. Here we had the arrow coming from the move T and going back and forth with so they're basically working together with other things. If we go back to something a bit earlier, like these ones, you see it's more the arrow coming from the kidney tonic and going to support all the herbs, right? So it's really the kidney tonic support all the herbs in doing things. When we arrive to the tea moving herbs, you can see it's working around. It's working together. Yeah, it's working together with other herbs. Yeah, but at the same time, there's all this right aspect with all the yellow stuff, where it's really helping herbs to achieve that. So it's still a bit more the role of helper. But when we get to the blood-moving herb, you really see that the other herbs are helping blood-moving herbs to achieve this action of moving blood, which is warming herbs, tea tonic herbs, and tea moving herbs that are going to help it. On the other side of the tea water axis, so we of course have the tea and tonic that will boost the organs, right? Boost the lung, boost the spleen, boost the kidney. These two, I'll skip the next two because it's not really typical ones. But then we have tea moving herbs because we want to strengthen the yang and to move the yang. Therefore, it can remove the phlegm and dampness. Yeah. And then we have urination promoting herbs that's also helping us this whole thing of removing the phlegm, dampness, water. I will also put the surface liberating herbs here because they tend to work along with the lung, and we need the protective tea, to protect the surface. So they kind of have also some similarities here. And we have the wind damp eliminating herbs that are more specific. But it's very common that people have B syndrome because they have yang deficiency in the first place. Because they have yang deficiency, they're vulnerable to coldness, they're vulnerable to dampness, damp weather, and therefore they develop this wind damp B syndrome. Thank you for watching this clip of our masterclass. We are running this in-depth and practical masterclass of herbology and formulas. So if you're interested in joining us or watching the full recording, please check the program in the description of this video or send me an email at johanberling@gmail.com.